Welcome back. In this lesson, previously we saw we could do it with post. So this is again shorthand, and we can go back to the default Ajax that we looked at in the first lesson. So let's do that. We can keep the data the same. All of this stuff is the same. The only thing we're getting rid of is the post. So we're going to write it out as Ajax. So this is the longer format. And it also does give you a little bit more control. So we'll do it within this type of way. So the first thing we need to specify is URL. So we already have that as a value type. So this is where we do get, post, whatever we want to do. And of course, we want to do a post. So just comma separate these out. Data. So this is the data that we're sending. So we've got that already all ready to go, packaged and ready to go. So last, let's do success. So you can do it as parameter here, or you could do it on done, whatever makes sense for you. Usually I do like to keep it as success because it does look a whole lot cleaner and nicer. And then a lot of times you'll see that they do the function in here as well, so that they don't have to create a separate function for that. And then whatever happens on the response, then they just log that out here. So again, it's up to you, whatever makes sense for you. And then this is the value that we're returning back. So we're getting back all of those parameters as data, and we can get that XHR object. And as we saw earlier, we've got the 3 different values that we can pull back, and it doesn't actually matter what name you assign to them. The first one is always going to be data, and really data is usually the only one that you need. So let's try this out. So let's refresh, submit, and we're getting the exact same thing. So this is exactly what we wanted, and this is just another way to write the same thing and try that out. So you've also got some options here, and as we saw with jQuery, there are a number of different things that you could put here within the parameters. So feel free to make some updates to it and really customize what the type of options that you're sending in there. So there's the success value there. We can check for status code. So if it's 404, then we can alert page not found. So there's a number of things there that we can do. We've also got passwords, so we can authenticate within the password. So if we do need a password, we can also process data, meme type, so the XHR meme type that we're expecting. Not used a whole bunch of times, but it is good to know that it is there. If we need to pass header information, so this is where we could pass header information. So it's passed as a plain object. And sometimes you do need this. Depending on what you want to place in your headers, you may or may not need this information. And then there's also the error. So if in case it throws an error. And then there's the different data types that you can expect. So you can update those as well. There's also JSON+AJAX+API. So JSON+AJAX+API gives you more flexibility of loading that JSON data. So if you're having problems loading JSON, if it's blocked for whatever reason, try JSON+API. So that will give you a little bit more flexibility with the data. It's not as secure. So these are just some of the options, of course, that you can do. And we also, a lot of times you will run into this cross-domain error that we saw earlier as well. So this one, some of the APIs, they're not as flexible. And it's just really a matter of trying them. And sometimes you do encounter problems with different APIs, depending on which ones it is and how strict they are within the cross browsers. The one that we've been using now, they're all open across browsers. That's why they've been working. But sometimes you do run into that CORS error, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about that because the APIs are just protected and they're not allowing any kind of cross-domain access to the content. So do try this out for yourself, have some fun with it, and enjoy. And jQuery really is a great option when you're making Ajax requests.